doing our mastery list here. Get everything all situated so I can share my screen with you. We're going to have so much fun learning so many new spelling rules today. Let me share my screen. That doesn't look like my screen. There we go. All right. So this first word has a couple spelling rules that I want you to know about. First is there is a silent letter pair in it that is the same silent letter pair that is in the word. Let me make that better. Knife or knight, as in a royal knight. Do you see that KN? That's a silent letter pair. It's a very old English word, a very old English way of spelling that we have just kept on. The K is silent. You only hear the N. You're going to need that in this word. Okay, this word is based on the word know. It is a form of the word know. It's a derivative of the word know, as in I know that. And so I'm going to tell you this part because I want to set you up for success. When you have a word that is derived or is based on a word, if it's a word with an ending, you're going to usually keep the spelling of the first word. So the word know is in this word. You're going to keep the W. So OW usually comes at the end of words, not in the middle. However, since it's at the end of know, you're going to keep that W there in this word, okay? So far we've learned about that KN, it's a silent letter pair. You need the K even though you can't hear it. And OW, you got to keep that W there, even though it's not at the end of this word that I'm going to give you, it's at the end of the word know. And since the word is a derivative, or I can't think of the right word, it's in the same word family as know, you're going to keep the whole word know in there, okay? Now, the last rule I want you to know is, you're probably figuring out what the word is now, but that's okay. You have, for the J sound at the end of words, you don't use a J. J doesn't come at the end of English words. You have two other choices. You have a GE or a DGE. This one can come after anything except a short vowel. This one comes after a short vowel. Because you see this, like if it was the word huge, this E is doing two jobs. It's making this G say its soft sound J, but it's also making this make its long sound oo, huge. If you want a vowel to be short, it can't be that close to the silent E. There can't be another vowel in the next one or two spots in order for that vowel to make its short sound. There has to have two consonants after it. That's what that DG is for. That's why they stick this in there, is to separate the short vowel sound from the silent E. You're going to need this in your word. All right, let me make the lines and vowel sounds for you. I'm going to put this on one sound and just give it to you. Okay, your word is knowledge. Knowledge. Go ahead and spell it and put it in the Q&A. Knowledge. There's an in there. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So don't forget, we have this KN right here, that silent letter pair. and then we have a j sound at the end. So it might sound like a ch, but it's actually a j sound, but we can't spell j, you can't have a j at the end. You have a ge or a dge are your two choices for the j sound. And since this is a short vowel sound, we have to use the longer way to spell it so that that d separates this short vowel from this silent one. And then here we have that L, knowledge, knowledge. Okay, so it's based on the word know, and now you know why that trigraph is there. So now you'll never wonder about knowledge again. You might have known how to spell it already, but you might not have known why it was spelled the way it is. So hopefully that helped. Okay, next. For this word, we're going to need the tap 2 rule. So when you're spelling a word, and I'll just explain this once because you guys probably already know it, but for those who are new, and I'll probably just do it once at the beginning of every class. If you're spelling a word that has a long vowel sound in it, it's going to need another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. So if you're spelling a word that has a long vowel sound in it, which means it says its name, there must be another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. If not, if you want a short vowel sound, a, e, a, there has to be either 2 consonants after it or 1 consonant and then the end of the word. There can't be another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. So you need that rule. You also need the I before E rule. So that chant that we learned when we were kids, it's really true most of the time. They let us write I before E except after C, and when sounding like A as in neighbor and way. But mostly just for that first part, I before E except after C. That's pretty common. It's pretty consistent. And it says E. So I before E can say the E sound. The third reading or spelling rule that you need to know for this word is that V's can't be at the end of words. So like if you have the word have, why is this E there? A silent E at the end always has a purpose. It's never there for no reason. And the word is not have, it's not making it make its long sound. It's there to keep the V from being at the end. V's are not allowed to be at the end. You must have a silent E at the end. That's why this is give and not give. That's a pretty fun fact, isn't it? Okay, so you need the tab 2 rule, you need I before E except after C, and you need words cannot end in V. They must have a silent E at the end. Your word is believe. Believe. Put it in the Q&A. You might have known how to spell it before, but now you know why. Isn't that fun? Believe. I believe. I'm going to get a lot of correctly spelled words in this Q&A. Good. Yes, yes, yes. So here's our consonants. B, E, L, E, V. Vowels. B, E. Can this E spell the E sound? Yes, because there's a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots, so it can make its long sound. Here we have our I before E, except after C, spelling the long E sound. And then here we have an E that's forcing that V to not be at the end. Beautiful. Next. All right, next we have, this one's probably going to be a little easy. I'm going to do this one kind of fast. It's, you know, I'm probably just going to teach you this one instead of going through the whole rigmarole. It's 40 versus 40. This one is incorrect. Okay, you might think that you spell 40 this way because that's how you spell the number 4. That is how you spell the number 4, but that's not how you spell the word 40. So it's a little deceiving, right? You spell 40 with just an OR. Just an OR. So everybody, just to cement that in your brain, put the word 40 spelled correctly in the Q&A. And then at the very end of class, I'm going to just have you spell all of these words again. From having memorized to knowing why it is spelled that way. Yeah, yeah, right? You may know how to spell a word, but you probably don't know why it is spelled that way. And I just put a new video in your modules. It's up toward the top. It's why nonsense words. And it's because for the first 9 months of the year, we work with nonsense words for different reasons, many reasons. But one of those reasons is I can control the spelling patterns so that you don't have to guess. The second reason is so that you're not relying on previous memory of words that you already know how to read and spell, so that you have to actually apply the spelling rules that are being taught. The third reason, the one that I want to emphasize right now, is that I'm teaching you how to spell so you can spell any word. I'm not teaching you how to spell specific words except 40. I'm teaching you how to spell so that you can then apply those rules to spell any word. So when you said from having memorized a word to knowing why it is spelled that way, that's going to help you not only spell that one word, but to spell a plethora of words. All right, next. This word, all right, okay. This word has another silent letter pair. So we already worked with, let me share my screen. We already worked with KN in the word knowledge. That is a silent letter pair. You don't hear the K, only the N. Now we're going to work with RH. RH is a silent letter pair, as in the word rhinoceros. Okay, you don't hear the H, only the R. You're going to need, big juicy hint, you're going to need to know that the RH silent letter pair is used in this word. The next thing you need to know is that this is a Greek word. So if you hear an I sound in a Greek word, if you hear an I sound in a Greek word, use a Y. It's right in the middle. That's called a medial Y. This is a Greek word, so you're going to use a Y for the I sound. Okay, so far it has a silent letter pair RH. It has a, you're guessing what the word is, aren't you? It has a medial Y acting for the I sound. Now, this is a fun word to spell. I have to think about it every single time I spell it, and it's a fun challenge for me. But you do have to think about it, unless you are just super, super good at this, especially this word. It's a challenge for me every time I write it, but I feel like it's a fun challenge. So the word is rhythm. Our sounds are r, I, th, spell rhythm. Yes, Julie, that's the number 40. F-O-R-T-Y, the number 40. Okay, rhythm. So instead of the I, instead of the I, we're going to use a Y. And then you have a RH at the beginning. Okay, so let's spell our consonants first. We have RH, that silent letter pair. I, th, Since it's a Greek word, that I sound is going to be spelled with a Y. There's rhythm. Rhythm. All right. Yeah, it's fun, huh? Rhythm. It will really help with your spelling. Oh, how would it sound if it was just rhythm? It would sound the same. So somebody is saying, how would it sound if it was spelled like this? This is a common misspelling of this word because it's missing the H. It would sound the same because this says the same thing as this. RH says the R sound. What else was I going to say? About rhythm. Oh, this is how you spell the word rhyme. So in this word, let me erase the misspelled one. In this word, that Y, it's acting like an I, and it's following the tap 2 rule for I. The I sound is short because there are 2 consonants after it. In this one, rhyme, the I is making its long sound because of the tap 2 rule. There's a vowel right there in the next 1 or 2 spots. So that I is saying I. Rhythm and rhyme. Okay. Quick review now. Try not to look at your notes, but I will put the spaces and vowels, the sounds and vowels up here for you. But I would like for you to try to review the spelling of the word knowledge. 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 Try not to look at your notes. You can if you want, because you need to set yourself up for success. Yes, rhyme is a Greek word because it has that medial Y. Knowledge. So as a review, spell the word knowledge in the chat, in the Q&A. Beautiful. Very good. So we have that K and silent letter pair. That OW is saying the aw sound. Here's our eh, and here's our trigraph, DGE, that comes after a short vowel to keep that E far away from that silent E so it can make a short sound. Next, spell believe. 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 I before E except after C. Yep. Here's our consonants. B, E, O, E, V. I know that E, that V can't be at the end. I'm sticking an E there right now. This E can say the E sound just fine because of the tap 2 rule. And here is our I before E except after C. Next word is 40, the number 40. 40. As in the number 40. Yep. It is not spelled like the number 4. We have just a regular O that's making its long sound here because that's what O says when it comes before an R. And then E at the end is spelled with a Y, the E sound. Last one, rhythm. 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 Sarah, I think that was probably a typo because I know that letter is right next to the correct letter on the keyboard. Very good. Amazing. Doesn't it feel good to know how to spell that word? It's just a fun word to spell, especially when you know how, the Y of it. You know that there's a silent letter pair in there. You know that's a Greek word, so the Y is spelling the I sound. It's that fun stuff. All right, how are you feeling at the end of this class? Give me one word to let me know how you're feeling after learning why these words are spelled the way they are. Okay. Thank you. Good. That makes me so happy. Yay. That makes me so happy. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I just look forward to teaching this class. I get so excited for Mondays and Wednesdays so that I can come and teach you all these fun things. Thanks for being here and joining me. Hopefully I'll see you in the next half hour and then in the reading class. If not, have a wonderful rest of your weekend and we'll see you Monday. Bye, everybody.